You have big dreams of losing weight and creating a healthy, joyful life. But you find yourself craving sugar, caught up in what the scale says, and diet hopping. Dieting is the old way of losing weight. And the good news is I'm going to give you a new way of eating so you can ditch diets for good and build a healthy relationship with real food. My name is Megan Olson, certified nutrition practitioner, creator of Skinny Fitalicious, and your host of the Dish on Diets show. Today, I want to talk to you about why your calorie deficit isn't working. You're tracking your calories and you're not losing weight. In this episode, we are not going to talk about food and calorie tricks. We're not going to talk about having more discipline, trying harder, using more willpower or effort, or being stricter or harder on yourself, because those things never, ever work. You see, many of you message me saying, Megan, I'm in a calorie deficit and I'm not losing weight. And you sound super, super frustrated. Well, the first thing we need to be kind of truthful about is that you're not actually in a calorie deficit if you're not losing weight. You may be in a calorie deficit sometimes, but you're not in a calorie deficit most of the time, which is why you're not seeing notable weight loss. I've worked with 1,000 one-on-one clients over the last 11 years, and it's common for me to see clients when they start tracking their calories, they're only in a deficit a handful of days out of the month and they're expecting weight loss. But you see, weight loss won't happen if you're only in a calorie deficit sometimes. And tracking food consistently is an issue I've seen when working with clients many times too. If you're only sometimes tracking your food, then weight loss is not going to happen. Weight loss doesn't care that you are sometimes doing things. Sometimes tracking your food, sometimes eating in a calorie deficit, sometimes getting steps and going to the gym. Weight loss cares that you are consistent with those things for a long period of time. So consistency is your real problem. And there can be a lot of reasons why consistency is a problem for you. Could be lack of structure and routine around meals, not prepping ingredients for meals or planning meals, having a bad relationship with food, an all or nothing mindset, being too strict with food, or maybe thinking the types of food that you're eating are wrong, guilt and shame over body image, guilt and shame over food, negative self-talk, or what I call being a jerk to yourself, emotional eating patterns, how you deal with stress and stress coping mechanisms, not believing in yourself, always thinking you should be motivated to do things to take care of yourself and to be in a calorie deficit. These are all possibilities of things that are probably going on underneath your calorie deficit that's impacting your ability to be consistent. And that's why you are sometimes in a calorie deficit, sometimes you're tracking food, sometimes you're working out, sometimes you're getting steps, sometimes you do healthy behaviors, and it's why you're not losing weight. This is why many of you are struggling to lose weight. It's not because a calorie deficit doesn't work. It's because you must fix the things causing you to be inconsistent before you try to track calories and be in a calorie deficit. This is what messes up a lot of women. They're trying to be in a calorie deficit, but you're not ready. It's like you're in elementary school and you're trying to go to college. You're not ready because you have to fix what's broken first. And I know you don't want to hear that. Many of you are not dealing with the real reasons why you gained your weight in the first place. You just want weight loss, but without dealing with why you eat, why you feel guilty eating certain foods, why you treat yourself poorly, why you talk down to yourself, why you don't believe in your ability to change, why you think in an all or nothing way about your habits in food, why you think food is good or bad, why you think you can't have something and then you overeat it, why you eat when you feel fatigued, angry, sad, stressed, name whatever emotion, right? You will always struggle with a calorie deficit because you're not dealing with the real problems making you inconsistent. And even if you do somehow lose weight without addressing any of those root cause issues, you will gain weight back after you lose it because those issues will still be there. So one of the things that's really important is making sure you're dealing with the root causes of your weight gain. There's a reason you need to lose weight. It's because of the weight gaining problem that you need to lose weight, right? Have you ever stopped and thought about why you need to lose weight in the first place? Well, of course, you need to lose weight because you have excess body fat, but why is the excess body fat there? How did it get there? Well, it's because you've been living in a calorie surplus. You've been regularly putting more calories into your body than it needs. That could be from over consuming, even though you exercise and move a lot. It also could be that you're just not moving a lot and over consuming. It could be a combination of the two, right? And it's probably been going on for years and decades. It didn't happen in the last 6 months, right? So, how did the weight get there? What most women do is go on some diet and lose weight. All diets just create a calorie deficit. There's nothing magical about diets. They're all just ways to create a calorie deficit. And then they market it to you like, oh, this is some kind of dream diet. We came up with the one solution no scientist, no nutrition expert or dietitian ever figured out. They never figured it out, but we figured it out, and we're going to tell you what the secret is. It's just a calorie deficit. There's nothing magical about these diets. They're just tricky marketing, and they are all simply ways to create a calorie deficit. So most people, they find a diet, they go on the diet, they lose weight, and they gain it back because they go back to what they were doing before they went on the diet. The reason they go back to what they were doing before that diet is because that was what they were doing when they were living their normal life, their baseline way of living, the lifestyle, habits, routines, mindset that created the body that they wanted to change. Many women are seeking to lose weight without changing the lifestyle that created the weight gain in the first place. And they're dieting, jumping to calorie counting, cutting out different foods, trying out all these different diets, fasting, even doing GLP-1s now, thinking like, well, I'll do this and I'll just get the weight off and everything will be fine after I get the weight off. But why did you gain the weight in the first place? What are the root causes of it? Many women, I do think, have this belief something's wrong with my body. I'm broken. I'm a food addict. I'm addicted to sugar. It must be the fruit. There's too many unhealthy foods around. I can't say no to them. I used to think exactly like this when I was 215 pounds. But what most women fail to see is that it's none of those things that are the real problem. Sure, they're likely contributing to your weight gain, but it's really the excess eating and lack of moving. Think about how a GLP-1 works. It makes you eat less. As a side note, I'm very pro GLP-1. I've got clients who are on GLP-1s, but just like a diet, if you go on a GLP-1, you must figure out the lifestyle piece and what areas of your lifestyle need to be addressed and adjusted to keep the weight off. Otherwise, people go on a GLP-1, lose weight, go off the GLP-1 and gain all the weight back because they return to their normal baseline lifestyle that caused the weight gain. If you lose weight on a GLP-1, then wean yourself off of it. What if the reason you gained weight was because you struggle with emotional eating? What if the reason you gained weight was because when you're stressed, you want to eat more and not move? What if you're a social eater and you come off a GLP-1 and that social pressure is still there, but now you don't have the ability to say no because you're not able to say no now that you're not on the medication? You see what I mean? You really have to get to the root cause of your weight gain, whether you go on a diet, whether you calorie count, whether you go on a GLP-1. And I'm going to share with you some critical skills you need to master before going into calorie counting and losing weight. And I know you don't want to hear this, but if you don't master these skills, you're going to struggle with losing weight and regaining weight and over again. And many women, I think they think that this is just normal. I lose weight, I gain weight. This is just my normal life. No, it's not normal. It's kind of weird. Many midlife women that I talk to and coach want to jump right into calorie tracking. They want to jump right into dieting and losing weight. They think if I'm not losing weight, I'm not making progress, I'm failing. I totally get that. I used to think that way too before I lost my own 80 pounds. You see, for me, when I started losing weight, it was only when I decided to stop dieting that I lost the weight for good. Ironically, I stopped focusing on weight loss to lose weight. It was when I finally decided I had to start changing my life that weight loss became very simple and easy. It was when I let go of needing to see weight loss to do healthy habits, things that are good for my body, that I was finally able to lose 80 pounds and keep it off for 17 years. Before, doing healthy habits for me was always contingent on whether or not I was seeing weight loss. If I'm not losing weight, I'm not doing any healthy habits. Why should I bother? I'm not losing weight. Funny thing is, I also would do that the second I wasn't on some diet. Every time I stopped following some diet, I stopped exercising. I stopped paying attention to food. I stopped tracking my food. I stopped walking. I stopped doing all the things to take care of my health when I wasn't in weight loss mode and dieting. That's kind of really weird, isn't it? And it's funny because 17 years ago, I didn't really think about it that way, which is why I'm trying to get you to think about it this way. Okay. So you don't make the same mistakes I was making. You see, most women are not willing to put weight loss on hold to fix what's broken first, to adjust their normal life that supports losing weight, but won't necessarily create fast results. For me, I started with just moving more because I was living a chair to chair lifestyle, relocating from chair to chair to chair all day long, barely moving my body. So I started with just walking 10 minutes every day. I committed to myself every day, no matter what, I'm going to find a way to walk 10 minutes. That's all I did for many months. Did I see weight loss? Nope. Weight loss didn't come from walking every day, but it supported the life that I wanted to build, which was somebody who was healthy and fit. And walking made me feel good, which helped me do it, even though I wasn't seeing weight loss. You see, in the beginning of your journey, you have to be willing to do things for a long, long time that won't necessarily create weight loss, but will support weight loss down the road and make you feel better. The women who struggle with losing weight the most are the ones who are so weight loss focused, so they're never addressing the root causes of their weight gain. That's why a calorie deficit isn't working, because you can't be consistent with a calorie deficit when you haven't fixed what's broken first. So, first skill you got to master is the ability to say, this is what I'm planning to eat, and then do it. Just winging it, meal to meal, not going to work, honey. You got to be able to have a game plan for what you will eat and have a structure and routine in place to prepare ingredients for those meals or those foods, making sure you got them on hand ahead of time. When I was 215 pounds, I acted like mealtime was a surprise. It's lunch. What am I eating? I literally had no structure or routine. And I look back on that now and I'm like, that's so weird that I was doing that. So when lunchtime rolled around, I just would grab whatever was most convenient because I had no plan. Same with dinner, which is why I would come home from work tired, exhausted, stressed. And then I'd go through the drive-thru, order an entire calzone, eat the entire calzone, eat an entire bag of chips and wonder, what's wrong with me? It's because I had zero structure, zero routine. You can't do that when you're trying to lose weight. Later on, when you get more skill and practice with these habits, like I am now 17 years later, you can wing things a lot more because you have more knowledge and practice. But in the beginning, failing to plan is just planning to fail. And not having a plan for what you're going to eat also makes it extremely difficult to track food. That doesn't mean that you need to spend 4 hours in your kitchen every Sunday, prepping all these complicated meals. It means you need to have some ingredient prep or some very shameless shortcuts on hand so it makes your life easier, and you got to have an idea of what you're doing. Trying to do different meals, different ingredients makes tracking calories and tracking your food so hard. And most people, whether or not they realize it, they eat a lot of the same foods and meals when they are not trying to lose weight. But when they hear somebody like me say, it would really help you if you repeated a lot of the same meals to lose weight, they automatically think they're being restricted and somehow that they are not going to be able to eat what they want and somehow they're being deprived. And really, that's just your bad relationship with food being highlighted to you. Because do you really need last Wednesday's lunch to be the most amazing, memorable meal ever? Or do you just need it to fuel you and be satisfying to you and keep your food noise under control so you don't eat every snack in sight when you get home? Like, really, do you need it to be the most exciting thing? No, you need to plan. You need to have somewhat of a game plan, especially in the beginning of losing weight and tracking calories. You can't wing it. And you also need to be able to know when to say no when something unexpected happens, and not no in a way that you're being a jerk to yourself, but no in a this doesn't serve me kind of way. Like when you want seconds after finishing a meal, even though you're full, it's just because it's there and you want it. Or like when you want to finish off the little extra bites of foods that your kids didn't eat because you don't want to waste it, Or when somebody offers you food that you didn't really want or you didn't plan for, or when you don't have a plan, but you think grabbing takeout sounds better, or when you have a rough day and even though you got food at home that you can warm up in the microwave, you're like, I'm just going to go through the drive-through. Or when you plan to eat a cookie with your lunch and your brain's like, but no, I want five more. One isn't good enough. Or when you want popcorn at night because your husband's eating it, you have to be able to sometimes say no when these things happen, because you saying yes all the time is what got you into this weight gaining situation. And you have to be able to say no sometimes without invoking the weight loss card. You know, when women say, I can't have that because I'm trying to lose weight, that's the weight loss card. We don't want to invoke that. I can't have that because I'm on a diet. I can't have that because I'm trying to lose weight. No, that's dieting. You've got to be able to say no because you are changing your life, not because you're trying to lose weight or because you're on a diet, because otherwise, after you lose weight, you'll just go back to saying yes to everything. And remember, saying yes to everything is what got you into this weight gaining situation. Okay? The other thing is you have to be able to sit with uncomfortable feelings. I've noticed working with my clients, this is a big one. A lot of clients really think they need to put food in their mouth every time they feel something that is uncomfortable. Stress, anxiety, fatigue, negative feelings, pain, injury, sickness. You need to learn the skill of sitting with uncomfortable feelings. Like when you want to eat, but not eating. Because again, if you always practice saying yes, you're gaining weight, right? If you don't practice the skill of saying no, and you lose all your weight, and you have a pattern of eating when you feel some kind of uncomfortable emotion, then you will gain your weight back. Again, this is why you're not consistent. This is why your calorie deficit isn't working, because you can't be consistent with a calorie deficit when you're always saying yes to everything, right? Many women that I've worked with over the last 11 years don't even realize they're doing this. I mean, they kind of realize they're an emotional eater. They kind of realize that they stress eat. They don't realize how much of it's going on. They don't realize how much they're saying yes all of the time. And they don't realize that they don't want to sit with uncomfortable feelings. So they try to calorie count to try to manage their overeating, but that's not fixing the real problem. So you got to be able to plan what you eat, learn to say no, and learn to sit with discomfort. And by the way, saying no doesn't mean saying no all the time, but being choosy about when you're saying yes. Okay? Big difference. But here's the thing. Many women, they just want to jump to the weight loss part. Give me the weight loss part, the dieting, the calorie counting part, because if I'm not losing weight, I'm not succeeding. But see, that's just it. Losing weight does not mean you've changed your behaviors. I've seen so many women lose weight and then something happens, they stop losing weight and go back to doing what they were doing when they were gaining weight. And that usually happens gradually. They return to their old lifestyle, but don't really notice it. Yes, some women run right back to that old lifestyle that made them gain weight overnight, but most women don't do that right away. It's usually a slow, gradual return to that lifestyle. They gain 5 pounds back here, 10 pounds back there, another 5 pounds here. And before you know it, you're like, I'm right back to where I started. I gained all my weight back. Because you were so focused on just losing weight and going on a diet and not focused on changing your life, your habits, your routines, your mindset. You weren't interested in creating a lifestyle that was incompatible with being overweight. You see, emotional eating and a bad relationship with food really sits at the heart of a lot of this. And that is why when I'm working with my one-on-one clients, most of them do not start with calorie counting. I'm setting them up to fail as their coach if I do that. We start with building meals. How do we establish a routine with meals? Usually it's just one meal at a time, like breakfast, and writing down what we eat. Can you do that? Can you just work on breakfast and write down what you eat? Because if you can't do that, you're not ready to track calories. You're not ready to lose weight yet, because you have to first work on changing your behaviors. You got to nail the foundations first. I'm not interested in helping you lose weight and gain it back. I'm interested in helping you lose weight and keep it off. Big difference. And you only do that by focusing on the weight gaining problem, focusing on the behaviors that created your weight gain in the first place. Once you focus on getting to the place where you can plan what you eat, write it down, learn how to say no and be picky about when you say yes, learn how to talk to yourself like a supportive friend, are able to be consistent with movement and are better at sitting with uncomfortable feelings instead of eating through them, then you are ready to start doing the diety things. And when I say diety things, I mean tracking calories and putting yourself in a calorie deficit, because you've got to be in a consistent calorie deficit for a prolonged period of time in order to lose weight. And that is the issue for those of you who keep saying, I'm in a calorie deficit and not losing weight. You're not consistent because you have these foundational problems going on with food, making it extremely difficult for you to be consistent with a calorie deficit. It's pretty crazy to me. I've seen clients who are like, I've been in a calorie deficit 3 weeks, nothing happened. And then for like 2 months, they don't want to track their calories. And they're like, I don't know what's wrong with me. It's pretty crazy. But I see these kind of things over and over again. It's because you're not consistent. 3 weeks, you're not going to see much. You got to be in the game for like 8 months. And if you can't do that for 8 months consistently, then, that's the issue, because you didn't gain all your weight in 3 weeks, right? But I do see a lot of women kind of with that mindset. And the reality is you're not going to create a new life in 6 months or a year, because you're not changing 10 things all at once. You're changing a lot of little things in your life, like every interaction with food, every routine, every social situation, every belief that interacts with food, how you move. Some of those situations will show up daily, and some of them are only going to show up once a year. I mean, that's one repetition to offset 45, 50, 60 birthdays of doing it the old way. The first birthday, you're probably going to mess a few things up. And then you're going to have to wait an entire year to practice that one event. Maybe you go out to eat once a week with friends. That's 52 reps a year. So maybe you'll learn how to navigate eating out faster. The point is, taking 2 or 3 years to undiet your brain and unlearn 40 or 50 years of conditioning with food is actually really fast. And if you got to take the first 6 or 8 months or even a year to not worry about weight loss, but to worry about getting good at mastering these skills, that's really darn fast. Start tracking your habits. Stop tracking the scale. You must realize that mastering these things and fixing your normal life is progress. Progress isn't just the weight loss. The weight loss is really just a bonus of changing your life. You should be able to ask yourself along this journey with the changes you're making, could I do these behaviors for the next 10 years? If yes, it's a lifestyle change. If no, it's a weight loss change. Fine for when you are temporarily in a calorie deficit to lose weight. But you've got to be making the 10-year changes. Otherwise, the weight just comes back. So to reiterate, the single biggest reason why your calorie deficit isn't working is because you're not consistent, because you're not ready yet to be in a calorie deficit, because you have root cause issues getting in the way of you being consistent. They've probably been going on for the last 20, 30, 40 years of your life. You're jumping right to the weight loss without fixing those root cause issues of your weight gain and inconsistency. And like me, you may have been conditioned from all of the different diets you've done to jump into weight loss and thinking, if I'm not losing weight, I'm doing something wrong. If the scale's not moving, I'm failing. It's not working. I'm not succeeding. Except you're not doing that anymore. That's your old way of thinking. That's your old way of approaching this. Lifestyle is not the sum of one thing. It's your habits, routines, mindset, self-talk, beliefs, self-worth, patterns, environment, what you should and shouldn't do running in your head. If you count calories or go on a diet and leave everything there intact, you're setting yourself up for weight regain. If you total up the weight you've lost across every dieting attempt, the bigger number is what you've weighed at your heaviest. That tells you something. You don't have a weight loss problem. You have a weight gaining problem. You're actually pretty darn good at losing weight, but you've never learned how to stop the regain and how to change your life. Like I said before, I'm not interested in helping you just lose weight. I'm interested in helping to change your life, helping you become leaner, healthier, happier, better shape forever. Your goal at the end of this journey is not to just have lost weight. Your goal is to have adopted, upgraded habits, routines, belief systems, self-talk, confidence to the point where being overweight is incompatible now with that new life. It would be impossible for you to be overweight because it wouldn't match how you now live your life. Most women want to do the opposite. They want to keep their current lifestyle, the one that produced their overweight body, and just have the body of a thinner person at the same time. They think if I just change my body, then everything will change. It doesn't work that way. I tried many times losing my 80 pounds, doing it that way. And I can confidently tell you, especially now that I've coached 1,000 clients one-on-one over the last 11 years, it doesn't work that way. And I've seen many women try to do it that way. It doesn't work. It fails every time. You might keep it off for a few years, but then it always ends up coming back. So I want to leave you with one question to reflect on this week. Are you dieting or are you changing your life? Only you can answer that question. Ladies, if you want to set up a consultation with me, the link is in the show notes. I'll talk to you soon.
Hey, if you enjoyed this podcast, you have to come check out my free weight loss class. It's the 5 steps to lasting weight loss, how hormones impact weight loss, and the truth about lasting weight loss without relying on willpower, workouts, or deprivation. Click the link in the show notes to watch that free class today. And if you are a woman over 35 with 20 to 50 or more pounds to lose, schedule a free weight loss breakthrough session with me after you watch that class. And let's talk about your 20 to 50 or more pound weight loss plan.
Pros, save more on what you need to get the job done right now at Lowe's. Get 15% off select custom entry and interior doors. Plus, save $80 on the DeWalt 20-volt Max 2-tool combo kit, now just $169. And at the Lowe's Pro Desk, bring us your materials list and get a quote in minutes. Handwritten, a photo, or even a sticky note is all you need. Keep your jobs moving faster and on budget at Lowe's. Valid through 7/8 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.